At Thanksgiving, my sister revealed my dad signed my designs to my brother, so I sued, won $327,000, and made them sell the shop and home. My sister drops a bomb at Thanksgiving dinner. That routine paperwork I witnessed at the lawyers, it was them registering my designs under Tyler's name. This, after I dumped $40,000 of my own money to save the failing family woodshop with my furniture line that landed us 3 hotel contracts. But apparently, I'm too soft and too artistic for real work, Dad's exact words. When confronted, Dad just dismissively waved his hand, like shooing a fly. I walked out that night and never looked back. But now they are begging for my help. So, check this out. I'm 32, male, a certified interior designer with my own brand now. Fancy, right? You'd think it's all velvet swatches and Pinterest-worthy lighting. I wish it was. Let me take you back to where it all started, the family wood shop. It has been around since my grandpa started it back in the 60s. Real old-school craftsmanship type of place. The kind where the smell of sawdust and varnish hits you the second you walk in. My dad basically had wood shavings for blood. He spent more time with his lathe than with actual people. My younger brother Tyler was cut from the same cloth. He could build pretty much anything with his hands by the time he was 17. Kid was a natural with tools. Always had been. But me, I was always the odd one out. While they'd be in the workshop, creating stuff, I'd be off in the corner sketching furniture designs. Dad would look over at my drawings, shake his head, and drop gems like, "Drawing pictures ain't real work, son. Real supportive parenting there, right?" My sister Olivia was always Mom's shadow. 2 peas in a pod, those two. She never got her hands dirty in the shop, but she was the family gossip central, knew everything about everyone. Girl could have worked for the CIA with her information-gathering skills. When I told them I wanted to study interior design abroad at 18, my dad absolutely lost it. Called it a fancy degree for people who pick out curtains. Just completely dismissed my dream like it was nothing. But I went anyway. Had to scrape by on scholarships, side jobs, and enough ramen noodles to probably permanently mess up my sodium levels. College was tough, but I crushed it. Got my certification, worked for some major firms in Europe, then came back home with actual experience under my belt, a portfolio full of designs that had actually been built and sold for serious cash. Did my dad care? Hell no. Still treated me like I was playing with crayons while Tyler was doing real man's work in the shop. Yeah, Tyler could build anything if you showed him how. But the dude couldn't design his way out of a paper bag or talk to clients without sweating through his shirt. Zero creativity, zero vision, zero people skills. Skillful as he was, when I came back, the business was circling the drain. Their colonial-style furniture wasn't selling anymore. Too old-fashioned, too expensive compared to the mass-produced stuff flooding the market. They were about 6 months away from having to close up shop for good. So I pitched this idea. Let me design a minimalist line that would appeal to younger buyers and boutique hotels. Modern, clean lines, but still showing off the craftsmanship that set us apart from the IKEA crowd. Dad rolled his eyes. That IKEA-looking crap. But Mom, who was watching the business accounts bleed red month after month, convinced him to let me try. So I went overboard. And I didn't just design it. I fronted $40,000 of my own money for prototypes, rented a booth at the biggest trade show in the country, and put together all the marketing materials myself. Stayed up for 3 days straight before the show getting everything perfect. Almost passed out on the showroom floor from exhaustion. And guess what? The line absolutely blew up. Went viral on social media with designers and influencers sharing photos. We got contracts with 3 boutique hotel chains within a month. The shop went from nearly bankrupt to busier than they'd been in a decade. Dad barely acknowledged it though. Just kept saying people will come back to traditional furniture eventually. Classic. The business was saved. Orders were flooding in, and he still couldn't admit I'd done something worthwhile. A few weeks before Thanksgiving, Dad called and asked me to come with him to the lawyer's office. Said they needed a witness to some business paperwork updates. "You know this stuff better than anyone, Jason. Just be my second set of eyes," he said, actually sounding kind of respectful for once. I didn't think much of it. Figured it was more legal housekeeping. Maybe updating some contracts for the new hotel clients. So I went, even wore a decent shirt for once, thinking maybe we were finally moving towards some kind of professional respect. The lawyer handed me this thick envelope, asked me to sign as a witness. Not a beneficiary, not a client, just someone to verify the signatures. I didn't even read the documents. Dummy, I know, but this was my dad, my family. You're not supposed to have to read the fine print with your own blood, right? I signed where they told me, thinking I was just helping out. Fast forward to Thanksgiving. The whole extended family's there. Aunts, uncles, cousins, everyone. We're sitting around after dinner when Olivia, who'd started getting a bit drunk, leans over and whispers, "You know all those designs of yours that saved the business? They registered them under Tyler's name. Dad made sure of it." I stared at her, thinking I'd misheard. "What are you talking about?" She hesitated, looking guilty as hell, then said, "That paperwork you witnessed? It wasn't just the will, it was the official transfer of all IP and ownership to Tyler. You signed it, Jason." My mind started racing. I'd signed the damn document that erased me with my own hand. For a second, I genuinely thought I was going to throw up right there on the Thanksgiving table. "Why would they need me to sign it?" I asked, trying to wrap my head around what she was saying. Olivia just looked down at her plate. "To make it official. They needed a witness, and they knew you'd come if they made it sound routine." I looked across at Tyler, who had this smug little smile playing at the corners of his mouth. He knew. They all knew what they were doing to me. I stared at Olivia, trying to process what she'd just told me. Then I turned to my dad, who was suddenly very interested in his half-empty plate. "Dad, is this true?" I asked, keeping my voice steady. "Did you register my designs under Tyler's name, the ones that saved the business?" Dad just waved his hand dismissively, like he was shooing away a fly. "You've got your little design career. Tyler needs the business. He's got real skills. Besides, you're too soft for this industry. Always have been. Too artistic." My mom chimed in with her usual peacekeeper routine. "Jason, honey, you already have your certification and connections. Tyler only has the shop." They never saw what I did as valuable, ever. I was just the kid who drew pretty pictures, the soft one, the outsider. Even when I literally saved the family business, they still couldn't see my worth. I looked my dad straight in the eye and said, "Those little designs made you $500,000 in contracts this year. I put in $40,000 of my own money to launch that line, and you registered my work under Tyler's name without telling me. You tricked me into witnessing my own erasure." Dad's face got all red. "We built those pieces. The designs belong to the family business." I just laughed, that hollow kind of laugh when something's so messed up it's almost funny. Well, I guess I'm not family then. I walked out that night and didn't look back. Just done. Cut the cord. Man, I just hit a point where I was like, why am I the extra in my own damn story? But I knew before I even stood up from that table that I wasn't keeping the business going. Let it crash. Let them figure it out without the guy they pretended wasn't pulling all the weight. I was done being the free labor, done swallowing crap with a smile, done sitting through their fake "we're so proud of you" while they handed the credit to someone else. And right there, walking to my car, I made the call. I wasn't chasing anyone anymore. No more brushing things off. No more "that's just how they are." Screw that. I wanted out from the guilt, the gaslighting, the fake family vibes. I wanted peace, even if it meant being alone for a while. The first few months after cutting ties with my family were straight up brutal. I'd quit my job at the design firm to help with the family business, so I had no steady income. My apartment was basically empty except for a mattress on the floor, a folding table, and my drawing supplies. Ramen noodles made a comeback in my diet. Every morning, I'd wake up with this weight on my chest like, did I just throw everything away? But then I'd remember how they stole my designs, how they never saw me as good enough, and I'd get up and keep going. Pure spite is underrated as a motivator. Just saying. I started small, designing custom pieces for people I knew from my previous job, working out of a tiny rented workspace that used to be a storage closet. Seriously, I could touch both walls at the same time if I stretched out my arms. My hands were always covered in pencil marks, stained with coffee from the all-nighters. My social life? What social life? Dating? Forget about it. I was living on protein bars and determination. The worst part was the self-doubt that would creep in around 3 a.m. like, maybe Dad was right. Maybe I was too soft for this industry. But then I'd look at the designs that saved their business and I'd think, nah, screw that. I was good. I just needed someone to believe it besides me. 4 months in, I got my first real break. This boutique hotel owner who'd seen my work through the family business somehow tracked me down. Said he recognized my distinctive style in the pieces they bought. Wanted me to design all the furniture for their new location in Chicago. Problem was, I had no workshop, no team, nothing. Just me and my sketches. So I started calling around, trying to find someone who could build from my designs. That's when I found this old Vietnamese woodworker, I'll call him Tran, who had a small shop in the industrial district. Dude was like 70 but could work magic with wood. His workshop was tiny but immaculate, tools hanging in perfect order, not a speck of dust out of place. He looked at my designs, ran his fingers over the sketches, and just nodded. Good lines. Clean, strong. 3 words that meant more to me than all of my dad's backhanded compliments combined. We partnered up. I'd design, he'd build, we'd split the profits. Had to max out my credit cards to buy materials for that first order. The whole time I was thinking, if this falls through, I'm completely screwed. But there was no going back now. I still remember the night before our deadline. Tran and I were both dead on our feet, putting final touches on everything. My hands were bleeding from helping sand pieces. Turns out I wasn't totally useless in a workshop. When we finished loading the truck at 5 a.m., the old man looked at me and said in his broken English, "Your father, stupid man, you have gift." First time anyone from that world had ever said something like that to me. And that hotel job led to another, then another. Word started to spread in the design community about my work. I called my business Garrison Modern, partly to reclaim my name, partly as a middle finger to the family business. By the end of the first year, I had enough clients to lease a real workshop space and hire 2 craftspeople to work with Tran. We weren't making millions or anything, but the business was growing steadily. I was finally starting to feel like maybe, just maybe, I could build something worthwhile, something that was truly mine. But I was still looking over my shoulder, half expecting my family to try to tear it all down somehow. I'd catch myself checking my phone, wondering if Dad would ever call to apologize, or if Mom would reach out to see how I was doing. They never did. And of course, eventually, they found a way to make things even worse. About a year and a half after I walked away, my sister Olivia called me out of nowhere. I hadn't spoken to any of them since that Thanksgiving. So it was weird seeing her name pop up on my phone. "Jason, things are bad," she said, skipping any small talk. "The business is tanking, Dad's pissed all the time. Tyler's in over his head." I just listened. Wasn't about to interrupt her with an "I told you so," even though I was thinking it. "The hotel contracts aren't renewing," she continued. "Tyler's been trying to design new pieces, but..." She trailed off. "But what?" I asked. "They're garbage, Jason. Like literally people laugh when they see them. He's got the technical skills, but zero vision." Part of me felt vindicated. The other part just felt tired of the whole situation. Tired of being right about people who would never admit I was right. Then she dropped the real bomb. "Also, remember those designs of yours they registered under Tyler's name? Turns out you'd already properly registered them yourself before that, right?" I had. Right after I created them. Before I even showed my family. Standard practice to protect my work. Never told them because, well, they were family. Thought I could trust them. Rookie mistake. "Tyler's freaking out," Olivia continued. "Says you're going to sue them for using your designs." "They are my designs," I said. "You know what I mean," she said, sounding impatient. "Anyway, Mom wanted me to feel you out, see if you'd be willing to come back, help save things." I laughed. Not the mean kind, just incredulous. They stole my work, got me to sign away my own rights without my knowledge, gave everything to Tyler, and now they want me to bail them out again? "They're family, Jason," she said. Like that explained everything. Like that magic word family could erase all the betrayal. "Tell them no," I said. "I've got my own company now." 2 days later, Tyler called. When I didn't pick up, he left a voicemail that started with fake niceness and quickly turned into straight-up begging. Said the business would fold without me. Said he was sorry about the misunderstanding with the designs. Misunderstanding, right? Like accidentally taking someone's coffee, not stealing their life's work. When I didn't respond, he showed up at my workshop a week later. Mr. Tran saw him first and came to warn me. "Angry boy here," he said, tapping his chest. "Same eyes as you, but angry." I went out to the parking lot to face him. Tyler looked like hell, circles under his eyes, clothes wrinkled. Dad's golden boy wasn't so shiny anymore. "We need to talk," he said. "We're talking," I replied, crossing my arms. "The business is going under, Jason. We need your help, your creative touch." He practically choked on the words. "No," I said. His face went red. "What do you mean, no? This is our family legacy." "Your legacy?" I corrected him. "Remember Thanksgiving? Dad made that pretty clear. That was just Dad being Dad. You know how he is." "Yeah, I do know. That's the problem." He started getting desperate then. Offered me 30% of the business. How generous, right? Said Dad would step back and let me take creative control, but it would still be Dad's business. Tyler's name on my designs. Too late. I told him, I've got my own thing now. Garrison Modern is doing fine without the family drama. That's when he lost it. Started yelling about how I was betraying the family, how I was always too full of myself, how I thought I was better than everyone. You are nothing without us, he shouted as I turned to walk away. That fancy degree doesn't make you special. You can't build with your own hands. I just kept walking. Tran had come outside, watching silently from the doorway, but Tyler's last words followed me inside. You'll regret this, Jason. I swear to God you will. Tran just raised an eyebrow as I walked past him. Family? Not anymore, I said. He nodded like he understood completely. Better this way. No good tree grow in shadow. But as the days went by, it turns out Tyler's threat wasn't just an empty one made in the heat of the moment. It was a promise, and he wasted no time keeping it. A week after his visit, the reviews started showing up online. 1-star ratings for Garrison Modern on every platform. Google, Yelp, industry forums. All saying the same things. That I was a fraud. That I stole designs from my family. That my furniture fell apart after a few months. Reviews from customers that never existed. Then came the posts. Tyler went on a social media rampage. There were long emotional rants about how I'd abandoned the family business in its time of need and stolen the Garrison legacy. He claimed I'd sabotaged the family shop before leaving, that I'd taken client lists, that I'd even stolen tools, said I'd always been jealous of him, always trying to undermine him. It was all lies, but people ate it up. Nothing like family drama to get the comments flowing. Some of our mutual acquaintances started reaching out, asking what the hell was going on. People I'd known for years suddenly looking at me sideways. Worst of all, clients started getting nervous. 2 pending contracts got put on hold while they sorted things out. One hotel chain representative called me directly, asking if their furniture was going to be delivered on time, given everything that's happening. I tried to ignore it at first. Figured it would blow over. Just focused on doing good work, delivering quality pieces on time. Thought the truth would speak for itself. But then Tyler escalated. He started contacting my clients directly, telling them I was unreliable, that the quality of my work was suspect, that they'd be better off working with the original business. I found this out when a client forwarded me an email Tyler had sent them, asking if there was bad blood between us. That's when I realized this wasn't going to stop. He wasn't just venting, he was actively trying to destroy what I'd built. So I called up Brian, my lawyer friend from college. We still catch up now and then when he's in town. I laid everything out for him, including my original design registrations. He looked through it all and basically said it was a clear case of defamation and theft. My timestamps were way earlier than theirs. No question. I told him I didn't want to sue my own family. He just gave me this look and asked if they even still counted as family after what they did. That hit, because honestly, they didn't. Not after this. So, we started with a cease and desist letter, spelling out exactly what Tyler and the family business were doing wrong, and demanding they stop immediately. It wasn't even that aggressive. Just stop doing illegal stuff or we'll take further action. Their response? Tyler posted the letter online with a new rant about how I was sicking lawyers on my own blood. The comments were vicious, people calling me heartless, saying I was trying to destroy my family's livelihood. Some local furniture makers even started publicly boycotting my business. I never wanted it to get this messy. Wasn't looking for a fight, but they just kept pushing, crossing lines like it meant nothing. Then one day, I got a call from a designer friend. He tells me my brother's out there pitching a new furniture line using my old sketches, stuff I'd shelved years ago. I was so confused. Those sketches were from my personal portfolio. Ideas I'd been developing for years, must have taken them from my old room at the house. Some of them dated back to my college days. I didn't expect him to go this far. I drove to my parents' place that same day. Mom answered the door looking shocked to see me. Her hair had gone grayer since I'd last seen her. Made me realize how much time had passed. Jason, she said, not making a move to hug me or even invite me in. What are you doing here? Where's Tyler? I demanded. Jason, please, can't we talk? Where is he? I demanded. At the shop, she said quietly. I found him there with Dad, hunched over a workbench. My sketches spread out in front of them. They were building prototypes. One was already half finished, a chair design I'd been working on for years. one I'd never even shown them. "What the hell do you think you're doing?" I shouted. Tyler spun around, startled. Dad stood up straight. That stubborn look on his face, the one that said he was right no matter what. "These were in your room," Tyler said. "Like that justified it. You left them behind." I lost it. "Those are my designs, my intellectual property." "You drew them under this roof," Dad shouted, "while we were putting food on your table." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I drew most of these in college and at my apartment, and even if I hadn't, they're mine. I created them. "We're trying to save the business," Tyler yelled. "The business you abandoned." "Yeah, the business you stole from me," I shot back. "The one that only survived because of my designs that you put your name on. The designs I didn't even know I was signing away when you tricked me at the lawyer's office." Dad stepped in, eyes cold. "That's enough. Go run back to your little studio, Jason. You've always been more of a poser than a builder. Let the real men handle the business." I took out my phone, snapped a few pictures of them standing there with my sketches, and headed for the door. "You'll be hearing from my lawyer," I said, "and this time I'm not playing nice." 2 days later, we filed the lawsuit. It wasn't what I wanted, but they'd left me no choice. They'd stolen my past work. They were trying to steal my future work, and they were actively trying to destroy my reputation in the industry. Enough was enough. The lawsuit took almost 8 months of legal back and forth, depositions, evidence gathering. Expensive as hell, too. Ate through most of my savings, but I wasn't backing down. Not this time. What shocked me most was how my family doubled down. Instead of admitting what they'd done, they painted me as the villain in court, said I was trying to destroy a 3-generation family business out of spite, said I owed everything I knew to my father's training. I mean, what training were they talking about? Said the designs were collaborative efforts, not just mine. They even tried to claim that since I'd used their workshop to build the first prototypes, the designs belonged to the business. Like using their tools somehow transferred ownership of my ideas to them. But the evidence was rock solid. My original design registrations, emails from hotel clients praising my specific design elements, timestamped sketches and development notes from years before, and of course, their own social media posts admitting they were using my work because they couldn't create anything worthwhile themselves. During his deposition, Tyler actually said, "We needed Jason's designs because customers liked them better than what I could come up with." He basically admitted the whole thing right there on record. The months of legal proceedings took a toll on my business. Had to scale back operations, turn down some contracts I couldn't fulfill. Tran kept things running while I dealt with the lawsuit, but it was a struggle. There were days I wondered if it was even worth it, if I should just walk away, start over somewhere else. But then I'd remember the look on Tyler's face when he threatened me, the dismissive wave of my dad's hand, the way they'd tricked me into signing those papers, and I'd know I had to see it through. When the final hearing came, Mom, Dad, and Tyler sat together on one side of the courtroom. I was on the other, solo. Olivia didn't show up, said she didn't want to pick sides. "Yeah, thanks for the support." The judge listened, looked through the evidence one last time, then gave the decision. Tyler, and basically the whole business, were found guilty of intellectual property theft, defamation, and intentional business interference. They were told to stop using anything I created right away and pay me $327,000 in damages. The amount almost gave me a heart attack. That number covered everything, my legal costs, the contracts I lost thanks to their smear campaign, and the full value of the stolen designs. Way more than I expected. I glanced over. Dad looked like the blood had drained from his face. Tyler was frozen, like his brain had just blue-screened. They didn't have that kind of money, not with the business already barely hanging on. Outside the courthouse, Dad approached me. First time we'd spoken directly in almost 2 years. "You've destroyed us," he said quietly. "Are you happy now?" I looked at him. Really looked at him. The man I'd spent my whole life trying to please. The man who'd never once told me he was proud of me. The man who'd tricked me into signing away my own work. "I didn't destroy anything," I replied. "You did that yourselves when you decided I wasn't worth respecting." "We'll have to sell the shop," he said. "The house, too, probably." "That's not my problem." He shook his head slowly. "I don't even know who you are anymore." I almost laughed. "That's the thing, Dad. You never knew who I was. Never even tried to find out." I walked away then, didn't look back. But I heard Tyler call after me. "We're still your family. You can't just throw that away." But that's where he was wrong. They'd thrown me away long ago. I was just finally accepting it. It took them 3 months to pay the settlement. They sold the business first, equipment, client list, everything except the building itself, which had been in the family for generations. Wasn't enough. Then they sold the house I grew up in, the place where I'd sketched my first designs, where I dreamed of being a creator, all gone. I didn't feel good about it. Didn't feel bad either, just empty. Olivia called me once during that time, said Mom was a wreck, that Dad wasn't speaking to anyone, that Tyler had moved to Ohio to work for some furniture factory, said they were all blaming me for destroying the family. They lost everything, Jason, she said, like I didn't know. They had a choice, I replied. Multiple choices, actually. They chose wrong every time. They're still our parents, she insisted. Biology doesn't excuse what they did, I told her. You can't treat someone like crap for decades, trick them into signing away their own work, and then play the family card when it backfires. She didn't have an answer for that. Since then, my business has been growing steadily. The publicity from the lawsuit actually helped in a weird way. People in the industry heard about it, looked up my work, and liked what they saw. Turned out a lot of designers had dealt with similar issues. Family members or business partners trying to take credit for their work, trying to control their creativity. I moved to a bigger workshop, hired more people, even brought on an apprentice designer who reminded me of myself 10 years ago. Talented but unsure, looking for someone to believe in them. It felt good to be that person for someone else. Tran retired, but still comes by the shop sometimes to critique my joinery techniques and tell me I work too much. He's not wrong. I've put everything into this business. But last week, something weird happened. I was driving through my old neighborhood and, without thinking, turned onto the street where the family shop used to be. Total autopilot. The building was still standing, but the sign was gone. In its place was a sun-bleached for lease poster hanging in the window. I pulled over, just sat there for a minute, taking it in. Then a truck rolled up. 2 guys hopped out and started measuring the storefront. One of them waved and asked if I was interested in the space. I got out and walked over, asked what was moving in. He said it was going to be a coffee shop. Said the whole area was being redeveloped, more upscale now. I told him I used to know the place well. It was a furniture shop once, family run. He shrugged, said things change. And he was right. They do. I got back in the car and drove off. Didn't feel angry. Didn't feel vindicated, just free. Like whatever was still tethering me to that place had finally let go. The next day, I was in the workshop going over some production schedules when Tran came in with an unusual look on his face. You have visitor, he said, looking uncomfortable. I tell him, wait in your office. When I walked in, Tyler was sitting there looking worn down. He stood up awkwardly when I entered. What are you doing here? I asked, genuinely surprised. I heard about your business, how well it's doing. He paused. Mom and Dad are living in a small condo now. Dad's working part-time at a hardware store. Hates every minute of it. Mom's joined some gardening club. Seems happier away from the shop drama. I nodded. Not sure what to say. I came to apologize, he continued, for everything, the designs, the social media stuff, all of it. I was jealous and scared. Dad kept saying you were going to leave us high and dry, and I believed him. Before I could respond, he added, I've also been doing some designing. Nothing fancy, just small stuff. I realized I never understood before what it means to create something that's truly yours. I get it now. Then came the real surprise. I was wondering if maybe there might be a place for me here at your company. I know I don't deserve it, but I've got nowhere else to go. I stared at him, trying to process what I was hearing. Part of me wanted to tell him to get lost, but another part remembered what it felt like to have no one believe in you. You'd start at the bottom, I finally said. Basic workshop assistant. You'd have to earn every step up. The relief on his face was almost painful to see. Anything. I'll do anything. That was 3 months ago. Tyler's been working in the shop, learning the new techniques, keeping his head down. He's not bad at the physical work, never was. And the crew is starting to warm up to him, especially after Tran grudgingly admitted he does acceptable joinery. I've kept him away from the design side of things. That trust will take longer to earn, if it ever comes. But I caught him studying the blueprints last week, asking one of the senior craftsmen questions about how certain joints work with the modern aesthetic. Baby steps. It's weird seeing him in my space, sweeping up sawdust at the end of the day. Sometimes I still see flashes of the old Tyler, that entitled smirk when he thinks he's right about something, but then he catches himself, remembers where he is, who's in charge now. Sometimes I wonder if my dad ever regrets what he did. if he thinks about what he threw away. But most of the time, I don't think about them at all. I'm too busy building something that matters. Tran always says, good trees grow anywhere, as long as the roots are strong. Took me years to get it. My roots weren't in a family name or a dusty workshop. They were in the belief that I had something worth building. And once I figured that out, I grew. So yeah, maybe some people think I went too far by suing my family, costing them the shop, the house, everything. But after years of being ignored, disrespected, and used, I finally stood up for myself. The real win wasn't the money or the magazine feature. It was creating the life they said I didn't deserve, and knowing I built it on my own terms. And maybe, just maybe, there's room for second chances.